Hello everyone, good morning, good evening. Welcome to another PMP Q&A session. Today we will be discussing 10 more questions and these questions are from the entire exam content outline. So let's start question number 1. All right, Manmeet, you have chosen option A.
It is a project meeting, and stakeholder is expressing dissatisfaction about the agile approach. So, A, to my understanding, explaining the stakeholder with explaining the stakeholder that how agile works, the regular feedbacks, adaptive planning can enhance the project flexibility, would obviously make his concern go low. Instead of involving him, integrating him, or implementing the agile in a small pilot contained in BCD, A makes more sense to me. That we should explain, because that's just an explanation would cater him his concerns.
All right, thank you, Manmeet. Lala, you have chosen option B. Lala, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I didn't even notice that you picked me. Okay, so I went with option B. So the question is asking that the stakeholder has a dissatisfaction, right? They're thinking that because agile is evolving and there's going to be a lot of scope creep and a lack of control. So I feel reading the choices, I think choice B, it's involving the stakeholder in sprint review and planning to their concerns and incorporate their feedback. So if we involve them and get their feedbacks, it just kind of gives them a sense of a control, right? That's what their concern is, that they don't have a control, that they lack of control. And I thought that question is really addressing their concerns, that they feel that they have a control over the scope creeps.
All right, thank you. Carlos, you have chosen option B.
Yes, I chose option B. Not sure if it's correct, but it made sense that if you involve the stakeholder in the sprint reviews, he would probably get more of a clear view of what's happening and why this is a good approach.
All right, thank you for explanation. So one of the takeaways or mindsets that's required to answer PMP exam is, so for example, first thing that you can do is you can share information with the stakeholder, right? Second or better step is that have a face-to-face conversation or direct conversation, right? Face-to-face meeting. So having face-to-face meeting is better than just sharing information. So for example, if you see an option like one is sending a status report and second is having a face-to-face conversation. So face-to-face conversation is the better choice, right? To help other party understand what exactly you want to communicate. And the third, at the best choice, is involvement or demonstration. So the question asks, what is the best way to address the stakeholder concerns and gain their buy-in? And what is the concern? The concern is about potential scope creep, lack of control, and unclear final deliverables. So if stakeholders are unclear about, involve them in the process so that they experience that level of control, they see how agile works. So for example, rather than I'm just explaining you something, if I involve you in the process, you will be better positioned to understand. So correct answer is option B. Involve the stakeholder in sprint review and planning to address their concerns and incorporate their feedback, providing a sense of control. That is the best way to address stakeholders' concern. All other choices could be good choices, but we need to find the best choice or the best option. So all other options are, you can do that, you can explain, you can integrate, you can do experimentation, but the best choice is involve stakeholder in the process. So correct answer is option B. Let's read the explanation. Next question. Mohan, you have chosen option B.
Yeah, it seems like the project managers delegated some of the tasks to the team members, but yet they're not yielding the expected results, right? That's the core of the issue. And some of the tasks being completed, not being completed effectively. So, I mean, most of these A is kind of very similar to B. But it could be an issue between what is being delegated to the teams and not understandings. But B seems to be more of the core issue where they're not very clear on the expectations and the deliverables as to what needs to be delivered from that activity that is the delegated task, right? So I think that's why I picked B. But yeah, I think C, really accountability. I don't think that's an issue because teams, based on the question here, it's not no hint that accountability is an issue. So that's why I picked B.
All right, thank you. Robin, you have chosen option A.
Sorry, my cursor wouldn't get to the right place. Yes, I had difficulty in trying to single one out here, but in the end, we're not getting the expected results, and that would probably be from the task being too complex. So that's why I chose A.
All right, thank you, Robin. Basma, you have chosen option D.
Yeah, I felt that they were doing good and they were happy with the project performance. And me as a project manager, I expected more from them, meaning I wanted to control more while they were doing a pretty good job on their own. That's why I chose number D.
Sorry, you're saying team members are performing well as a PMID more structured approach. So how it is relevant to option D?
Well, because it says they prefer, it says at the top, you decide to delegate despite the team members are happy about the project performance. So the project manager wanted to delegate despite the good work. And then the delegation is not yielding the expected result. That's because they were doing, I think, I may be wrong, but I think they were doing good on their own. And then I decided to delegate and give them more work.
All right, thank you. So structured approach is different from delegation. These two are different things. So structured and control approach is exactly opposite to delegation. Okay, let's read the question. It says a PM, you decide to delegate more tasks. So you are delegating. However, team members are happy, but you notice that delegation is not yielding the expected result. So team members are happy. However, the delegation is not yielding the expected results. Now, there is a misalignment here. You understand? I'm doing the work. I'm happy. Why I'm happy? Because I believe I'm performing according to the expectations. However, PM believe the work is not according to expectations. So there is misalignment between expectation here. You understand, everybody? And some tasks are not still being completed effectively. So tasks are being delegated are too complex. If tasks are complex, then why team members are happy? If tasks are complex and difficult to complete, then why they are happy? Option B, team members are not clear on the expectations and deliverables. This is the best choice. Team members are performing well according to their their understanding. However, that is not aligned with PM expectations. So there is a misalignment when it comes to expectations. So correct answer is option B. Team members are not clear on the expectations and deliverable for the delegated task. For them, they are performing really well. However, from PM perspective, they are not performing according to the expectation, right? So correct answer is option B. Option C, there is lack of accountability and follow-up on the delegated task. It has nothing to do with the question, and it is exactly opposite to the delegation approach. Option D, the team member prefer a more structured and controlled approach. There is no such indication. So correct answer is option B. Let's read the explanation. Next question. Lala, you have chosen option C.
So the big 5 personality traits, I've heard of consciousness, conservatism, agreeableness. I haven't heard neuroticism. Neuro, isn't it like more like a brain kind of a thing? So that's why I went with option C. I think that's the one that does not saying is not one of the indicators. So
Okay.
the
So
3 are R and C is not.
All right, thank you. Carlos, you have chosen option B.
Yeah, I saw a graph in one of our getaway courses. I did not see conservatism.
All right, thank you. Robin, you have chosen option B.
I think it was a 50-50 guess, but I think Carlos is correct as well.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's conservatism. You're right.
All right, so yes. Big 5 personality model is also called Ocean model. O stands for openness to new experience.
Yeah.
C stands for conscientiousness. E stands for extroversion. A stands for agreeableness. And N stands for neuroticism. The only option that is not a trait of Big 5 personality assessment is conservatism. So correct answer is option B. Let's read the explanation. Next question. Carlos, you have chosen option C.
Yeah, I think it's difficult to control suppliers, but following up, scheduling regular meetings, you might be able to take decisions that help deliver on time for the key equipment to be there on time.
All right, thank you. So Has, you have chosen option C.
Yeah, the plan can be there, so definitely will help here. But the best way is to manage, if at all we are not following, if we are not getting, if we, in spite of having a plan, if there is a delay, what is the option B we have, right? So managing a project risk is what I felt is more appropriate in this scenario when compared to all other options.
All right, thank you. Vivek, you have chosen option C.
Yes, so I again started eliminating the options. So option A, as was mentioned, that having the plan there will not actually help. So even if we closely monitor the plan, it is something out of control. Increasing a budget, again, it's not only PM's decision and it's not a practical solution. So I eliminated that. And option D is like communicating with stakeholder to manage their expectation is a reactive approach. So once the issues happen, then we can communicate. So left with option C, which is like more relative and more appropriate.
All right, thank you. Robin, you have chosen option A.
I would say the best way to avoid delays is to actually plan that procurement properly and manage it. Manage and especially monitor it as you go. That's why I chose option A.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for detailed explanation. So let's read the question. It says, as a PM, you're concerned about the potential for delayed delivery. So potential for delayed delivery means there is a risk. So we have a risk here. There is a potential for delayed delivery, means we have identified a risk. And what is risk? Risk of delayed delivery of key equipment that is critical for your product. What is the best way to avoid delayed delivery? Now, what you would be doing that? Now, let's use elimination technique. Option D, communicate regularly with stakeholders to manage their expectations regarding the product timeline. First, it is not specific. Stakeholders means which stakeholders. And how just communication would help in this regard. So communicate with stakeholder to manage their expectations. So we're not talking about stakeholders' expectations here. We're talking about delayed delivery. So it is completely irrelevant. Option C, schedule regular meetings with the project team. Okay. It's your internal team to review the project schedule and identify any potential risk. You have already identified, and simple identification would not help you. You have already identified a risk. What is a risk? That is risk of delayed delivery. So again, identification would not help. Option B, increase the project budget to allow for expedited shipping option. This could be one of the responses. There could be other responses as well. So for example, you can order it earlier, let's suppose, right? Or you can go to another supplier. So why you're going with extra or additional budget without analysis? So we don't directly jump to the conclusion before doing the analysis. So you can eliminate. So correct answer is, if you want to make sure you get the product or piece of product delivered according to the schedule, develop a detailed procurement management plan and closely monitor vendors' performance. And where you see there is any problem, you can intervene and make or do some options to expedite it. That could be anything, right? As I have given you examples. So correct answer is option A. Let's read the explanation. Next question. Carlos, you have chosen option C.
Yeah, I was between C and B. I think C, if we establish the correct structure of governance and chain of command, if I may say, clear roles and responsibilities, maybe that's where it'll dawn on the sponsor that either he's the one or he delegates something when he's not there. It's like a second backup planner. It just made sense.
All right, thank you. Kokila, you have chosen option A.
Yeah, Amar, everything seems correct to me. So it says the project manager has experienced delays in approvals. So because the project is because the project sponsor is not available and paying attention. So what can a project manager do is to help the situation by scheduling regular meetings, giving brief updates, and so that this keep the project sponsor engaged and inform about the project progress and needs.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Vivek, you have chosen option A.
Yes, so the question mentions he is not paying the required attention and involvement is like really low. So by having regular meetings and briefly explaining the current project updates, they may have knowledge about the priorities and what is required from them. So they should be aware about their things to do. So they will not able to miss any such critical activity. So that's why I selected option A. Other options are like kind of seems to right, but B is something it's not in project manager's control. Other C is again having clear roles and responsibilities already there, so they are not denying about approving that particular outcome. And highlighting the sponsor is something reactive approach. So once it's not happening, then only we should highlight.
All right, thank you for detailed explanation. So let's read the question. It says that the PM, you are experiencing delays in approval because sponsor is busy with various functional activities and cannot provide the necessary attention to your project, right? So sponsor, they are busy in other functional activities, right? And as a result of that, there are delays in approvals. Now let's read the options. Option A, schedule regular brief status update meetings with the sponsor to keep them engaged and informed about the project progress. There is no indication in the question like sponsor is not engaged because of lack of information, or there is miscommunication, or not enough information is being shared with the stakeholder. Already they are busy. So having meetings would not help in this situation. You understand, everybody? So option A can't be the right answer. Option B, request a dedicated project sponsor who can focus solely on your project. No. Project sponsor, they may look after various activities in addition to your project. They may look after more than one project. So having a dedicated sponsor is not the solution. So B can't be the right answer. Option C, agree on a detailed project governance plan at the start of the project, outlining clear roles, responsibilities, and approval processes could be the right choice. Option D, highlight the priority of your project to the sponsor by referring to the organizational strategy. That is the job of project sponsor, to prioritize projects, right? And to make sure they are aligned with the strategic plan of the organization. That's not your job to tell the sponsor. Sponsor would be telling you this, right? You're doing exactly opposite thing. So correct answer is agree on a governance plan. What is a governance plan? Governance plan defines roles and responsibilities of different actors which are involved in the project, along with control activities, oversight activities, how oversight would be done, when we will be conducting meetings, right? When review would be conducted, how different processes work, how we will be seeking approval. So the problem is they are not giving enough attention. So correct option is you will be agreeing on a governance plan. You seek that commitment from the sponsor in the form of a written governance plan, so that they don't have any other option of not giving enough attention. So having that commitment from the sponsor would help resolve the problem. So correct answer is option C. Let's read the explanation. There is a comment C option seems to be in planning, whereas they seem to be in the execution. So question says what could have been done, means before, right? So even if they are in executing or whatever phase, so question is about in the past, what could have been done, right? All right, next question. Vivek, you have chosen option D.
So in the question, it's mentioned the decision should be extreme, that group should take the decision. So it should be like anonymous decision. I'm not sure exactly. Like I want to change the answer like to maybe it's due to dialogue within the team. So the dialogue will play good role here to make extreme decisions as a group. So maybe anonymity is not the right. I should change it to B.
All right, thank you. Robin, you have chosen option C.
It's I wasn't sure of this one, but what made me choose option C is the bigger the team size, the more complicated the question would become. So that's why I chose option C.
All right, thank you. So Has, you have chosen option A.
Yeah, when we have to take a decision in a group, then, most of us will have their own way of thinking, and, we need to make the team come together. So facilitation may be a better option to ensure that the team is cohesive and come to a common conclusion. That's why I thought facilitation is a better option than others. Again, I'm not very sure, but I just took this answer.
All right, thank you for explanation. So what is group shift? So group shift is, for example, I have a position as an individual, I have a stance. But when I see other members in the group, they are seeking more extreme positions. So my stance shifts towards that extreme. Now, this is called group shift. So because of collective extreme position in the group, my stance is shifted towards extreme. Now, how we can avoid that? So facilitation, what is facilitation? Facilitation is giving equal opportunity to everybody, right? So my stance that has shifted towards the extreme is not because I was not given a chance to speak. You understand, everybody? So it's not because of lack of facilitation. Even the facilitator is there. So what is facilitator is doing? Let's suppose I'm facilitating this session. I'm giving all of you equal opportunity. And if we, let's suppose, agree, like all of you would be sending answers to everyone so that all of us can see each other's answer. Let's suppose my answer is C. However, I see other members are choosing option D. So I'll switch to D. This is group shift. I changed my stance because of majority approach. So this is not like there is something wrong with the facilitator. Even the facilitation is being done, still you can go to group shift. So A can't be the right answer, right? So we can simply eliminate A. Option B, dialogue. What is dialogue? What dialogue is a conversation where you talk about pros and cons of each option. You discuss with each other. You seek clarity. You ask cross questions, right? So rather than you're making decision just because of other group member, you're having a dialogue. You try to understand the situation and then you make a decision. This could be the correct option. Team size. So yes, team size could have a little bit impact, but even the team size is small. Let's suppose we have 10 members here or 5. Still, we can have group shift when we have 5 team members. You understand? So 4 are choosing option A. I have chosen option B. I can still change my option from D to A because of other 4 members. So whether they are 4, whether they are 10, impact would be similar. You understand, everybody? So team size can't be the right answer. Anonymity. Now, anonymity means all of us are sending answers, but we don't know whose answer is this. So for example, right now I can see your name. Kokila has, let's suppose, chosen B, Carlos A, Manmeet C. Even if I don't know the name, if I know overall group perspective, my stance would shift it towards group perspective. So anonymity would not help in this situation. You understand, everybody? Correct answer is dialogue, where I'm not making decision just because a majority of the group, they are choosing an option. I'm choosing an option based on understanding of the situation, based on having that conversation and dialogue. So dialogue can prevent groupthink and group shift. Correct answer is option B. Let's read the explanation. Next question. Vivek, you have chosen option B.
Yes, so change has been approved and even the team members are not aware about the change has been approved and they are still working on the original old plan. So with configuration management, nothing to do with the change management or changing the scope. Version controlling also not related. Change documentation, even if the change documentation has been updated, the team is not aware. So somewhere like communication is broken and that's why the team is not aware about the latest updates.
All right, thank you. Mohan, you have chosen option A.
I mean, it seems like the change is approved, but the project team is still working on the original plans. So that's why I thought that the configuration management plan was not run, which is in tandem with the change management.
What information does this plan provide?
I mean, it's configuration management is part of the change management plan, right? So once you have the change approved, there has to be the version control version controls have to be changed. So that would eliminate the that would update the project management plan from the original plan to the new plan.
All right, so for example, okay, CCB has approved the change, right? And configuration management has been done, means documents are updated. Do you think like this is enough to implement the change? Now, let's read the question. It says, during a project, a change request was approved by CCB, but team members continue to execute the project according to the original plan. So when a change is approved, next step is change is communicated to all stakeholders so that they stop working on previous documents or previous plans. If change is not communicated, only then they would keep on working on the previous plan. So for example, if change is approved and I have communicated, a new change has been approved, please stop working on previous plans. Now there is no chance that any stakeholder or any project team member, they would be working on previous documents. Even the new documents are not shared with them, right? So correct answer is communication breakdown. All the other options are exactly same thing. Configuration management, version control, change documents. These are exactly the different names of same thing. So even if you update the plans, but you have not communicated to the team members, they will keep on working on previous documents. So the best choice is when a change is approved, communicate this to all stakeholders so that they become aware like, no, we need not to work on previous documents. Let's wait for updated version. So correct answer is option B. Let's read the explanation. Next question. All right. Robin, you have chosen option B.
Option B to me seems the most likely because you haven't developed enough information to get a reasonable scope put in place. So there's going to be a change, a lot of changes, and so option B seems likely.
All right. Thank you. So Has, you have chosen option D.
Yeah, without having a proper plan, that means without having a proper scope, if we are starting, there will be a lot of scope creep, right? So we may not know what's happening in the, we can keep on asking the additional things, and there is no plan, there's no scope which has been defined properly. So there is no, the uncontrolled expansion of project requirement can keep happening.
All
So
right.
that's why I choose.
Thank you for detailed explanation. So let's read the question. It says you're managing a project for a government client who insists on initiating the project even though the planning phase is not complete. Awarding the contract to the selected bidder without detailed planning would most likely lead to what? Okay. Customer dissatisfaction due to unmet expectations and deliverables. That could be one of the consequences, but not the direct consequences, right? There is something else that would happen first before it leads to customer dissatisfaction. Increased frequency of change request and scope adjustment could be an option. We can talk about that. Internal team conflict and communication breakdown. That's not the primary reason is not lack of planning. So team conflicts could be because of multiple reasons. Option D, scope creep. Now, this is an interesting choice. So let's suppose due to poor planning or incomplete planning, you identified scope as A, B, C, D, and you could not identify E. You understand, everybody? So your complete scope is A to E, but due to incomplete planning, you identified A, B, C, D. Now this is part of your scope. Now you have started the project. And in the middle of the project, you realize you missed E. So you can incorporate E through CCB and there would be no scope creep. So even if you have missed something, it won't lead to scope creep until and unless you add E without CCB's approval. You understand, everybody? So D can't be the right answer. This is really important for you to understand. You have missed something, it doesn't mean it would lead to scope creep. You'll see scope creep only when you incorporate something without approval. You understand? So incomplete planning would not directly lead to scope creep. So you can eliminate this. This is not relevant. Correct answer is option B. When you have incomplete planning, as a result of that, you will be having a lot of change request and scope adjustments, right? All other options are incorrect. Let's read the explanation. Next question. All right. Basma, you have chosen option A.
Yeah, so everything, because B, it will happen, but the first thing you're going to do is tell everybody to stop working on the project. So conduct a closure meeting. That will happen after you tell them stop. Review the project contract. Will happen also after. Reallocate the project resources. That also happens after. So the first thing that you want to do is tell everybody not to work anymore on the project.
All right. So you're actually canceling the project, right? This is what you're saying. By notifying the team and stakeholder, you're actually canceling the project. Does it make sense?
Correct.
No.
Correct.
Thank you. Mohan, you have chosen option C.
I don't, yeah, this is a tricky question. So what is the first step in project closure? I think, I mean, all these options are pretty good. I mean, I would say you got to go and look into the project contract and understand, the terms and the implications of the cancellation. And after that, you do the other steps. I might be wrong on this one.
All right. Thank you, Mohan. Lala, you have chosen option C.
Yeah, so the customer notified that to cancel the, the projects before I notify everybody else. Maybe I should do some review, right? Project contracts and terms, like what are the consequences of me canceling this project, and then after that notify, I guess, everybody else, stakeholders and the project team, everybody else, after do my homework a little bit, right? What do I have to tell my stakeholders and project team, everybody else?
All right. Thank you. Manmeet, you have chosen option C.
Uh, yeah, I read the question again. It says, what's the first action you should take? Same, I go with the Lala's explanation. Instead of notifying, I should be, reviewing my own self. Like, okay, if he wants to cancel, what are the do's and don'ts to involve in that step of cancellation instead of just going and notifying everyone, okay, this is canceled. That's why I changed my answer to C.
All right. Thank you for detailed explanation. So we have been discussing this again and again. Before you take any action, first option is evaluate, analyze, review, try to understand the situation. Yesterday, we had a similar question where sponsor requested to cancel the project, right? And there was no such option as review, evaluate. So we chose the first action is notify the stakeholders and stop everybody from working. But here we have an option like review the project contract and see what are the implications and then take the right action. So before you take an action, first of all, try to understand the situation. So correct answer is option C, review the project contract and understand the implication of the cancellation. Let's read the explanation. Next question. Kukila, you have chosen option C.
Yeah, Amar. So it's clearly stated in the exclusion. So in the scope statement, exclusions will be there. Also in the requirement document is, but I prefer a scope statement because it's elaborate and everything will be documented.
All right, thank you. Vivek, you have chosen option A.
I may be wrong here, but work breakdown structure is the like smallest unit of work. So where we will able to understand what we have completed and what not. So by referring the WBS document, we'll be able to understand why we excluded that.
All right, thank you. Mohan, you have chosen option A.
Can I change my answer? I think it's WBS. I can't recall, but I think it's WBS dictionary where you have the scope exclusions as part of that. So I'm going to go with B as the final choice.
All right, thank you. Let's take one more comment. Lela, you have chosen option C.
Yeah, I think scope statement has the inclusion and exclusion of the requirements of the project. So I would go with scope statement.
All right, thank you for detailed explanation. So question is about what is not included in the project. If you read the question, it says you delivered the product and the customer raised an objection that some additional work was not included in the contract, even though it was clearly mentioned in the exclusion part of the project documentation. Which document should we refer to in order to address this issue? WBS includes the work which is part of the project. And dictionary explains that work. It doesn't talk about excluded work. So exclusions are documented in scope statement. Requirement documentation only includes requirements which are part of the product. So in scope statement, we document product description, deliverable, acceptance criteria, and exclusion. So correct answer is option C. Let's read the explanation. All right, everybody, we're done with today's session. So just put your score in the chat window. 70%, 60%, 50%, 60%, 60%, 50, 70, 40, 60. Wonderful. I'm seeing a lot of improvement in scores. 70%, wonderful. So anything more than 50% is great. Less than 50% means you need to review these questions and see where the learning gap is, right? All right, everybody. So my next course is starting on 10th of August. This is going to be a different course because we have revised the question bank. So we have added more questions, some good quality questions. So this would be aligned with the latest exam content outline. So those who are watching on YouTube, you can just contact here to get details about the course. Also, you can share with your friends and colleagues. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Take good care of yourself. I'll see you tomorrow with an interesting lesson. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.